I think definitely understanding your child and making sure that you are giving them the safest environment possible where they feel secure to talk about anything and everything. They also are comfortable sharing, and they also, I think it's important for them to feel that it's okay to make mistakes and learn from them. As a parent, you have somebody to go to if you have made a mistake or if you are learning something. You giving them that comfort is probably the most important thing, what I would say.
Hi, Charu.
Hi, Sanjna, how are you?
Good. Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you. Well, last one was too good, so here I am.
I know. We, talked about a few things, and there was something, I got curious about, which was parenting. What are your thoughts about parenting? Having you got raised two kids, and what are the different things that you did?
Yeah. So first of all, I'd say growing up, you always thought your parents are having the best time in the world. And I'm the one studying, I'm the one doing all of this. But I realized that parenting is probably one of the very, very challenging things that we have in our lives. And there is never a point where you can say this is the right answer. It's always like there's no right answer. You have to always keep trying for better, for becoming better and better. So I would say I've raised two now. Almost second one is almost out of the house. She's a junior right now. The older one is working. And every day is a new learning for me. As a parent, I'm always shifting, learning, pivoting, and becoming a new person every day.
So evolving. Right?
Yeah, of course, of course. And I'm sure that you've had your share of experiences.
So what is it like? What is it that were raising a boy and a girl? Was it completely different, or did you feel like, oh, I'm like, or was it a second time? Was it easy?
Yeah. I would say I've heard quite a bit like raising a girl is a little more difficult than raising a boy. I am not able to conclude that, to be honest. I really think that I'd like to believe that growing up as a girl, I was very easy girl. I know that my girl is definitely an easy girl. She is a teenager, a proper teenager, but she's relatively very easy. I also hear that girls talk a whole lot, and boys don't talk. It's the other way in my house. The boy does the talking. However, I do think that, just giving them the exposure and inspiring them in the right way is very, very important. It actually does not matter whether you're raising one boy, two boys, one girls, two girls. It may start out with a pattern, but it is definitely the kid who has a personality, who has an interest. And for me as a parent to realize that and hone it in the right way is the most difficult part of parenting, is what I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to a new parent?
Well, it starts out from the day one, but on a just to summarize the advice and give it on a shorter note, I think definitely understanding your child and making sure that you are giving them the safest environment possible where they feel secure to talk about anything and everything. They also are comfortable sharing, and they also, I think it's important for them to feel that it's okay to make mistakes and learn from them. As a parent, you have somebody to go to if you have made a mistake or if you are learning something. You giving them that comfort is probably the most important thing, what I would say. I also think a lot of times I grew up as a And that's a passionate topic for me because I grew up as two girls in the house, so very less exposure to a boy growing up in the house, and the kind of interest and how the interaction and the communication style is different between a boy and a girl child. Realizing that and giving them the right exposure, whether you are raising two girls, two boys, giving them the right exposure is also very important.
So basically, as a parent, you would advise that we should always be there for the kid, listening to their stories or listening to the experiences or even their failures, should be there to guide them, right? And not judging them, right?
That's for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think just them realizing that they have you as the support system is probably the most important thing. And I actually would say, I haven't been very passionate about like helicoptering around them, about their food, about what classes they take, what grades they get. I have been very, very passionate about they are safe,
Okay.
they are happy, and also they know that they have a go-to person, as me and my husband, to come back to if they need any help.
So what is a relationship like? Like, is it like more like friend, like, or is it like they can talk to you and then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so is
I
that how
think
it
it's
is?
more like a friend. It's
Okay.
um, more like just a peer is how I would
Okay.
say. I
Okay.
think that's how I was to my parents for the most part, and I
Okay.
think that's how I am to my my kids.
Okay.
It's like they can talk about things. I do know that everybody has their own sides of worrying and and caring about some things more than others. And I have this side, I worry about health quite a bit. Like if somebody is sick, then I would be hovering over a little bit. So I know that they are very easy in terms of like just telling me, Mom, enough of hovering. So it's like a peer relationship, literally. Like, Mom, I am telling you, I'm fine. You've crossed that line where you are
You're worrying
literally
too much.
hovering over and worrying too much. So they sometimes remind me of the things that I'm not doing so correctly. And I like that because that's what makes me do better as a parent. And I've given them the space. And I think that's, to me, I mean, again, there is never the one right way, but to me, I think that's probably, I think, the strength of the relationship where you are able to talk to each other and tell each other where you're crossing that line and, come back.
Come back. Yeah. So that means you were not worried about like if the grade is bad or something. Never ever. Or in your mind, were you ever worried? Or
That's a good
sometimes
question.
sometimes we don't want to show it because that stresses the child.
Uh-huh.
But then in the mind we want all A's. But it's okay to have like
Yeah.
in your mind you're saying, oh, I hope he or she gets good grades. But was it an internal choice that you made that don't express that stress?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I say I never ever worry about the grades. I think it's an important aspect of being successful that you do well in whatever you do. But I also was very cognizant about the fact that I don't let that pressure come onto them. So I'd always say that you try your best. And I would say there was never a moment where I was, after they got a bad grade, I was mad at them or
Yeah.
even disappointed. I said, well, you know what? That's fine. It's always the other way for me. It's like just move on and do something more and try to achieve what you want to achieve. And maybe that's not your thing. So it's
Yeah.
okay to not do well in something and do well in something else. And
Yeah.
that's what I truly believe in also. So
Yeah.
it's not just a parenting thing. I think it's just a normal thing with me that I know over the period of time that I have certain strengths and weaknesses, and we just have
Like
to
all
hone
of
in on
us.
our strengths
Yeah.
and not really be sad or taken aback by our weaknesses. So that's what I try to ingrain by just telling them move on. Maybe that's not your subject. And maybe you look back and see if you can do better. If you can't, then maybe it's not your thing.
Yeah.
Realize and move on.
Give yourself a little thought that maybe, and there are like kids who are really good in expressions, like expressing subjects, right?
Yeah.
And there are some kids who are really good in math and calculations, right? But and there are kids who are good in both, but most of the time there is one side stronger than the other.
That's right.
And that is normal, and
Totally.
so that is really good to know, Charu. So what I learned from you today was that you didn't have like that what's that called, like that you tried to have a good friend relation with the kid, so they could share with you and your husband, and the kids could come to you and ask for advice or inputs, or even if there was anything that worried you, but you would come to you and discuss with you, and that only came because of a good solid relationship, right?
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't say, just to wrap it up, that I wouldn't say that if they come to me for whatever worries they have, maybe not the health worries.
Not that. Because I was like, oh
Oh,
my God.
mom will freak out. So, but the thing is that there is a friendly relationship where they know where mom freaks out. So they go to dad for that.
For that.
That mom is going to be worried. And sometimes they stop me from worrying. So it's a good partner relationship where, they would be talking to me as a friend, as a peer, and reminding me of or asking me questions and taking my input on what I am good at. And also, making me realize what I should do better.
Yeah, so they know this is, like, example, health is a sensitive topic for you.
Correct.
So they wouldn't like upset you or something on that. They know, okay, mom will just worry too much. But kids are smart, these days. They know,
Yeah.
Which parent can deal with that situation. Maybe, some other things they would talk to you and then talk to your husband about
That's
something
true.
else.
That's true. We clearly know there are subjects that they talk to him and myself on, and we exchange.
That is what I was thinking. That was my next question.
We
Do you guys
exchange.
tell
Yeah.
each other everything that what happened?
I would say almost everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they want us, we want to be trusted.
Yeah.
So I'm sure my husband also, he wants to build that trust with the
Yes.
kids, right? So if they are very, very particular about, like, don't tell it to mom, she will get worried about it, then I'm sure that,
Yeah.
he holds back on something. But eventually he tells me,
Yeah.
is what I believe. And
Yeah.
that's what I also
Initial
think.
stress is over, and he would tell
Yeah.
you, right?
As we cross the stages, it'll come to me.
Yeah.
But I do think that we share, and we kind of consult with each other also. Sometimes we share early because there has been a challenging topic shared with one, but he wants to consult with me, or I want to consult with him.
Yeah,
So
it's
we
like
do.
It's like a joint venture,
Exactly.
right?
It's a joint venture.
So
True,
yeah,
true,
and everybody has their
Yeah,
positives or
exactly.
things to add to that.
Correct,
So.
correct, yeah.
Well, that is really interesting, Charu. That's thank you for joining me today. And I think a lot of new parents are going to learn this. That starting from the beginning, have that good relation with your kid, and so that they can always trust you.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not going to be a smooth sail. There are going to be challenges.
Yes.
And we're still evolving as parents, and
Yes.
so will everyone.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, thank you, Sanjana, for having me again. And it's always lovely to spend time with you.
If you wanna talk about anything at all, then you know who to call. Just tell Sanjana. Tell Sanjana. Tell Sanjana. Tell Sanjana. Just tell Sanjana.